Today I would like to share with you a story that we went through in the past 2 years, or actually 2.5 years. And you will learn why I think it might be interesting for you. So, but the story starts a couple of years before. My life at that time, my work as a co-founder of Pragmatic Hotels and CEO looked like that. And it wasn't because I joined the firefighter squad, but it was later because we had a lot of problems and issues within our company. So, first of all, we had something around 6 to 8 teams at that time. We worked for 5 to 7 clients, and we have around 45 people, and we have like one escalation, also known as a fuck up, every 3 to 6 months. Every 4 to 6 months, we have some fire that we need to firefight with. On the top level of organization, as a small company, that was normal, I would say. The problem was that this kind of escalation happened in every team, almost every team, every 4 to 6 months, which you can do the math. We have been constantly firefighting. So that wasn't good. That wasn't good for me. That wasn't good for my health. That wasn't good for the company. We were unable to actually work on our company, on developing it, on growing and scaling. But I was really proud because we were extremely agile. We believe in our people. We actually do not have any particular processes of team and tools. Like every team was empowered, they had autonomy to choose their own process. Some of them call it Kanban, some of them call it Scrum. They also had an autonomy to choose their own tools. Some of them use Jira, some other use Trello. One team used just the board on the wall. Remember, that was the time when people used to work in the office, and that was normal. So people do what they want. They were empowered to experiment, to work on their own processes. We were able to respond to changes very, very fast. Our clients changed their mind very often. We usually didn't know where this decision came from, but we were able to change really fast. And we always value working software, especially fixing working software over creating documentation. This firefighting and other stuff. So we are really, really agile company, but we are in the constant fire. So we analyzed the situation, we did a retrospective, and we figured out that there might be an option that this kind of freedom and autonomy and empowerment isn't as good as we thought. We made a decision. We are going to implement Scrum by the book in every team that we have. And it's of course easy to say, but how to convince them to do Scrum? How many of you struggle with convincing people to use Scrum? Not so many. It's good. So I would like to share with you a few steps that we made. They might be some inspiration for you, or maybe not. We'll see. In our case, we had to start with why. We need to explain to people why we are going to actually force them to use Scrum. And I mean, do Scrum or do not. There is no try, as Master Yoda said. The very best Scrum Master of all time. Like telling people that you have to implement Scrum because we say so is not a good explanation. It's not a good why. In our case, we had to explain what results we are expecting and how the change will be done. And we had to repeat, or actually we still have to repeat it over and over again since the organization is evolving, changing, so getting back to this why is important. Our why was pretty simple. We wanted to have a repeatable process. We wanted to be able to scale up our company in a repeatable way. We wanted to have an opportunity to solve our problems on a system level, not on the locally, on the teams level or personal only. So that was our why. My motivation was quite different. Remember, firefighting. I just wanted to decrease this number of escalation, possibly to 0. That was a huge challenge. And actually, me, my co-founder, our management team, they didn't believe that we would be able to achieve that. So the second step we made, like first was starting with why, then we had to explain them how they should work in Scrum, why they should work in Scrum, and how they should work in Scrum. We started with a 3-month-long in-depth Scrum training. It's like 1 hour, or actually 1 hour of training every week, and 1 hour of the consultation that I will talk about later, for people who wanted to play a role of a Scrum Master in their team. I don't know if you are aware that Scrum Master job, or job position, is something that is not mandatory by the Scrum Guide or anyone. Scrum Master is an accountability, as it's written in a Scrum Guide. And actually, it's not a very hard work to do, sorry. So we teach our people how to become Scrum Master. Of course, at the beginning, that was voluntary. Right now, we decided that we want to have everyone who is at least a year in our company, for a year in our company, to went through this training. And actually today started the 6th edition of this training. Right now, among 100 people that we have, more than 70 is trained in the Scrum. This is like a PSM1 training level knowledge. Aside of that, we are doing in the very first week of every employee, we do the onboarding Scrum training. So everyone who joins the teams, they know what's going on and what the Scrum is. But it's not far away from what is needed to understand Scrum in deep. So that was the learning. But the learning is not the same as the knowledge exchange. We have brilliant people on board, but they need a room for exchanging the knowledge. So it's not so easy. It's easy to say, okay, create a space for knowledge exchange. It's harder to do, especially in the remote field environment. This kind of things were easier when we used to be in office, but they are still possible to do in the remote environment. In our case, we have like a few events, few methods to spread the knowledge. One of them, my favorite, is the Scrum Link Coffee. It's a simple meeting where people interested in Scrum meet once a week. Everyone add some topic to our Trello board, and then we do a simple dot voting on which topic we want to discuss. You can Google how the Lean Coffee structure looks like. It's pretty simple, pretty obvious, but very, very effective for our team that allow people to help each other with solving local problems. But that was the system-level solution for knowledge exchange. We do have product roast. Actually, it's called product backlog review, roadmap budget review. Very long, boring name. It's a roast. It's a meeting where one product owner presents their product backlog roadmap budget product itself, and other product owners, some Scrum Masters, are giving a feedback, providing advice. This is very effective learning process that we introduced. This is also some sort of a control mechanism that we know, or actually people know that if everything is going right in all of the products that we build. So another forum is a Monday Talks. It's a tech talk that someone is presenting from time to time. We do have a mentorship program, especially for new product owners, new people who join our company. Each of them have a buddy, have a mentor for at least a couple of months. By the way, during this Lean Coffee, we went through more than, I even think there is a number, more than 300 topics so far. So you can imagine how much knowledge was exchanged there. We have Scrum Master coaching and few other activities, but those were the most important. The next step was actually to take the product ownership, or actually to take ownership, because we were a software house, so we are working for external clients. Previously, those clients were managing the product. We just deliver software. You can imagine your head is somewhere in the US, your hands are in Poland. What could possibly go wrong? So we took the ownership. By taking ownership, that required our company level changes. For example, we add to the contract the one paragraph that says that they can hire our product owners, or they have to pay 15% more for the developers. That is pretty motivating for actually at least trying with our product owners. And I would say it's fair not enough, because we discovered that the ownership cannot be given. You need to take ownership. And that required a lot of training, a lot of empowerment, a lot of working with our product owners, so they will be able to take this ownership. I am pretty sure that that works in any environment. Even if you are in a product company hired as a product owner, you have to take ownership and product ownership. And we decided that every team needs to choose a Scrum Master, or a person accountable for being a Scrum Master, as I mentioned. Then we standardized our product ownership. We have created standards for all important foundations, but we let people to build on the top of that and modify the standards. And I believe this foundations was very important, because that allow us to later work on the system, not on the local initiatives. We decided to use Jira in the same way like everyone is using labels, everyone have the same definition of user story. We are trying to not to use task, but we are doing subtask. Even the estimation process is pretty standardized among the organization. It doesn't mean that people are comparing the estimates. They don't need to. So we also standardize product backlogs, roadmaps, budget tracking, clients onboarding process, product handovers, product development starts, product discovery workshops, and the training and onboarding of the product owners, and many, many other things in the product area. So that wouldn't be possible to simply teach people how to do. We need to go few steps back and figure out how to hire the right people. We added Scrum to our recruitment process, to assessment process. We standardized this process, and actually it's not the Scrum knowledge that we assess. We have a really good Scrum training, Scrum onboarding process. We are working in Scrum so people can learn from the practice, but we are verifying Scrum attitude. We are asking people how they understand Scrum, Have they been working in Scrum? Do they like it? Did they found any problems with this? As yesterday Andy shows you the results of the survey, many people call it Scrum, but usually it's far away from Scrum. So we also check if these people, even if they are not aware, if they are open for feedback about their process that they are calling Scrum. That works pretty good. What was the most important for us, we've been ready to let some people go. This is something that you need to be aware when you are actually forcing people to do something at some level. Some people will refuse, some people will decide to change their job, and you need to be prepared for that. So we've been there. And we had a rotation in the first year of this transition. We have a rotation at the level of 40%. So it's pretty a lot of people. It was also a start of the pandemic, so the number was pretty big because of these two reasons. But some people during the exit view told us that they don't want to go through this transition and now work in Scrum and doing these strange things. So then we had to assess the Scrum regularly. So we created a Scrum health checklist. It's 66 questions that our people, our developers, Scrum Masters, product owners answer every 2 to 3 months, just to assess where we have global problems. Like, this is a tool for them to work on that. Like the Scrum Masters can see which areas they should improve. The splits, like for example, retrospective, review, and other stuff. But on the system level, we see which areas are red in our entire organization. For example, recently we discovered that our teams have struggled with definition of done. And that was pretty surprising for us. But most of our team do not have definition of done written down. Their comments was that they feel what it is, but you know that maybe it's not the best idea. We have a product update meetings, which is just a status meeting where we also ask the question if the team is working Scrum, if they have any problems. We have this product roles I mentioned before. This is also a good control or self-control mechanism. We have demo days where team is presenting to the entire, once every 3 months, the teams are presenting to each other their progress. They are presenting a product to other people in our organization. This is a really encouraging experience, and also a great opportunity for the socializing and integration, because we usually do a huge party and celebrate the successes at that time. Okay, that wasn't enough. To actually do the Scrum, you need to, or we found out that we need to demand the Scrum from people. So we add this Scrum attitude and knowledge to our evaluation processes. It's not that if you are not a Scrum Master or something, you not get a higher salary or something, but these informations are part of the of our evaluation process. We are encouraging people to actually at least learn what the Scrum and Scrum Master role is about. And as I mentioned, right now we have a mandatory for everyone training, the Scrum in deep training. And we have to react when we see that people are not using our standard, which seems pretty obvious, but actually is not. And the last but not least, you cannot never stop. The one issue that we found was that leaders who were running these transitions, after sometimes people get bored, some people change their job, some people starting new initiatives and simply do not have time to lead the old ones. So we need to have assured the leadership succession. This is something that we currently working on to just figure out what could be the process for succession. We have like a few ideas, but They are still in the testing phase. What was the result? So this is a message. You can check the timestamp. Yeah, you can see it. It's in Polish. I translated it to English. A message that I received yesterday. This is a guy who joined us 2 months ago, and he simply heard in the company that there is some kind of training that people had, and he wanted to, a Scrum training that he wanted to be a part of. So this is something that actually makes me really proud when people are, and it's not a single example, it is just the recent one, when people want to learn more about Scrum. I think that we are doing something good, at least. But what was the real results? The real results is that we have this is like our third year, 2.5 years from the last major issue that we have, major escalation that we have from our clients, like everything works. Client satisfaction is much higher than it used to be. We have around 100 people who are actually really happy with working that way and who are proud of what they achieve, what they are doing. That is thanks to Scrum, transparency, incremental development, and other stuff you know well. We also have Scrum in HR. It's something that works pretty great, and we just started using Scrum in our marketing department. Thanks to that, we have system solutions that works not only in delivery, not only in IT, but also in the other department. The next step will be using less for the entire company management, because the company is a product. What are some side effects? First of all, creating new startups for our onboarding and education process. We started with Scrum, but later it occurs that other departments, other people involved in this process also want to create some standards because they see the value in that. People are exchanging knowledge and experience and good practices between each other, between each team. We have lowered discomfort when people want to change the team because every team works pretty the same way. Every team is working in Scrum. Every team uses Jira. Every backlog looks familiar to them actually, because we have the standards for user stories, for story points, for other stuff. So the onboarding into new teams is pretty straightforward. People are being productive usually from the very first day in the new team. We also have standards. We also started building the standards for coding and other stuff maybe soon for definition of that, because as I mentioned, we found out that this problem. It's much easier to sell for us when we have well-defined product. We not only tell people that okay, we work in Scrum, but we have presentations that we show what are the benefits for our clients from working that way. There is even more side effects. Some of the good practices and structures that we use, such as Lean Coffee, had been copied to other departments. We have user experience coffee. We have blockchain lean beer, like a coffee, but you know what the difference. We have Fellowship of the Node.js and many other, I would say, communities, as Craig yesterday called it. Who use the same practices and processes that we started using for our Scrum journey. Our employee NPS score increased. Our rotation decreased after this initial wave of quitting. And I believe that people are really happy, and some of them are really proud of what they are doing and how they are working. And actually, I don't know why I'm speaking about this here, because most probably some of them should be here and they should share their perspective as well, maybe next year. So I have a few key takeaways for you. So first of all, if you will try to do this kind of transitions, you need to remember that it has to be global and system level. Local transitions itself are nothing bad, but they have low chances without the system level changes and global level support. You need to change the system and change the people if needed. And if you cannot change people, you should change people, which is not easy sometimes. This transition should at least start in the management. And this is something I told about even a couple of years ago, that when I used to be, because I used to be an agile coach and consultant, I always wanted to talk to the HR department first when I was introduced to new company, because I believe that this is the place where the most changes should happen. And few other things. Please never ever try to copy this what you just show without any reflection. Never call it a pragmatic model. We are not Spotify. But you can do a few things. You can start with your own why. You can create your own system-level education process, knowledge exchange process. You can build your own standards for any aspect, such as recruitment, other stuff. And you should focus first on the system, not on the people, but you should be able to grow leaders who will do this transformation together with you, or actually who will lead this transformation when you won't be there anymore. And be ready for rotation. This is something that I believe is the most hard thing in changing the organizations, because you want to make people happy, but you cannot make happy everyone. So this presentation wouldn't happen if there won't be my team who make it happen. So I would like to thank them, and I would like to thank you for listening. And I wonder if there are any questions you have.
Okay, so Wiktor, thanks for a truly inspiring presentation. We have 30 questions. No way we can answer these, so guys.
I will be there later on with a cup of tea. So
if we don't have a chance to read it on stage, please just talk to Wiktor. He'll be available. Yeah, let's go. So the most voted one, I think you actually answered it a little bit, is how do you really know and how do you measure that your teams really love Scrum, as your title of the talk?
Like the metrics for that is not obviously this ENPS, Employee and Net Promoter Score. Of course, this is lagging metric, and there is plenty of factors that have an impact on this metric. But we also do have a few questions that we ask every quarter to our people. It's like a happiness survey or satisfaction survey that we run, and people will comment that they really like the way everything is done, that it's more transparent, they are more involved in the process. And we get a direct feedback from people. Like, people are really telling us that they really like to work in this company. And this kind of messages, number of volunteers to participate in the Scrum trainings, those are the things that also provide us feedback that they usually like it. Yeah, but we are talking about it a lot, so we know.
Okay, thank you for the answer. Another question is, if one of your teams decided it would be definitely better for the product to work, for example, in Kanban, so to go against all the stuff that you were showing us, would you allow it, or would you recommend sticking to Scrum?
I would definitely recommend to sticking with Scrum. Sorry, I know that Kanban works. Like, most people who are saying that they are using Kanban, they are not using Kanban, they just have a Jira board. But Kanban itself is a really good method, but at Pragmatic Coders we work in Scrum. If you want to work in Kanban, maybe someday in the future we will be Kanban company, but right now, most probably you need to go to work somewhere else. Because remember our why. We wanted to have a system-level standard, system-level improvement opportunities, not a local one. If we'll have in each team different process, we would have to focus on the team level, not on the system level. That require extra managers. Actually, this entire story, this entire thing used to be done only by me as a manager. Right now we have one Agile delivery manager who is working with almost 100 people and helping them working with Scrum, and we do not need more managers or Agile coaches or whatever to run this process. So it's pretty efficient.
Okay, so probably bad news for everybody who was looking to send you a CV after your talk. So sorry about that, guys. Okay, another question, interesting one from a product owner coming from a vendor side. So in your setup, when you decide to go with the internal product owner, how do you gain domain knowledge? So how does it work for you guys?
How do you get domain knowledge when you are hired as a product owner in a new company, in a product company? We are doing it simply the same way. We are talking to people, we are searching for domain experts on the client side. We are learning, we are doing our own research. In our case, it's also a little bit easier because we are working with the startups, usually with the early stage startups, so they are building pretty innovative things that are not just a copy from another thing. Of course, some domain knowledge, and we do a lot of, for example, fintech products, or recently medtech products, so even knowledge about the regulations, market, and other stuff is required, but we do have a lot of knowledge in place in our company. Together with this knowledge exchange system-level solutions that we have, it's pretty easy to get this knowledge from other people in the company, but still, usually it requires a lot of self-learning from the product owner. But as I said, when you join a new company, new product company, as a product owner, and you haven't been working in this kind of domain before, how you do that? We do this exactly the same way. This is nothing different from that.
Okay, thank you. Another question which I'm always super interested to know. So you mentioned that you assess the Scrum attitude. Could you give us any examples on how you do that, a little more detail?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, we are asking people about their experience with Scrum. We hear that, we listen to that. They are sharing some stories. Very often they are sharing stories about something that was called Scrum but is not. And then we provide the feedback how we think it should look like in their case. We are asking why it didn't, if they were aware of it. If their answer was that no, this is the proper Scrum, we do it right, but we, for example, simply see that they didn't have a product backlog or they didn't have a product owner in their team or they worked in safe, then we really see if they are open for a feedback, if they are open to learn how it should be, at least in our opinion, or if they are closed and they know better. So if they know better, okay, but coachability is one of the crucial part in the recruitment.
I agree, thank you. And guys, we have over 25 questions still waiting. We wouldn't have time to address them all, so please, if you want some answers, please grab Wiktor after the talk. He'll be available. And with that, let's give him a warm applause. Wiktor, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.